following takes place inside the CTU. Events occur in real time. Fellow 24 fan, actor for hire, filmmaker, and all around nice dude, Bryan Edwards. He released a 24-minute fan film based on the TV series 24 last week called 24 One More Day. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bryan.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've been looking forward to talking to you. I know it's been with scheduling and everything, trying to get everything going. I know you're super excited about releasing this, and I've been, following you on Twitter, and then that's how we got to talking and everything. So how did you, let's start off by talking a little bit about 24. Obviously, that was the whole, basis of making 24 One More Day. You're obviously a huge 24 fan, just like myself. Were you a fan from the first season? Did you jump in during later seasons? How did that start for you?
Well, one, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I still can't get over that stuff behind you. That's the whole time you were talking. I'm just looking at everything behind you. For me, it was from the start. Because I think 24 came out at like the perfect time. I think I can't remember how old I was now, but you're at that age where this is kind of the show that you want to watch.
Right.
And I remember when I didn't see any publicity for it. Like I didn't know what the show was. Never saw the trailers for it or anything. No TV spots at the time or commercials. I guess kids don't know what those are.
Yeah, with streaming, nobody knows what that is anymore.
Yeah, what are their ads nowadays? Right. So I didn't know anything going in, and my mom just had it on TV. She's like, "Oh, this show 24 with Kiefer Sutherland's coming on," and as a Canadian, we all know who he is, and so I just jumped into it, and it became an obsession after season 1 because my mom and I would watch it religiously, and it would be our weekly show basically throughout most of my childhood or late teens, early 20s, probably at that time. And then I moved out and went to school, and I still stuck with it till the end, until even today. I still go back once a year and do a binge watch of the entire season. Yeah. Just, I don't know. It's just something about that show. I can't, and during the convention, the 24 convention that you guys put together, that question came up a lot. It was like, what made it enticing for people? And I honestly couldn't give you an answer. It's just the whole package was just fantastic.
Yeah, I think too, me and Ryan from 20 years of 24, obviously check out the podcast over there, but he and I have talked about that a lot, about like the most boring episode of 24 is better than like almost anything on television.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like season 6 is considered like by a lot of fans like the worst season, but to me, I mean, there's great moments in that season, like amazing moments, and I'm just like the first 4 episodes I consider like, probably 4 of the best episodes of the series.
And season 6, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
I agree, but I disagree.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, it's funny, your story too about your mom getting into 24. That's exactly how I got into 24. It's basically my mom. I didn't watch it from the beginning. I watched it from season 2 on. Right. But she basically was like, "Hey, you have to check this out. The show is awesome. Please check it out." I'm like, whatever. And then I checked it out, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever." So it's kind of funny. Our stories kind of intertwine there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we are roughly the same age, so like that's sort of the moment. Like when the show first came out, like I said, you're at that age where like this is really exciting, and especially at the time on television because no one was doing any of this, right?
Right.
So you're traversing new ground, and it just, man. It just changed TV for me. And I wrote a little bit about that on the site for 24 One More Day. But like, it was just doing things that you still don't see on TV today. And if you do, it's just a copy of what we've already watched. Right. So,
yeah, exactly. Everything's a copy of Lost or, something. Yeah. So, like La Brea right now, I think it's pretty much a copy of Lost. So,
yeah. and the younger generation would never know, what 24 did for television, not just, for television itself, but like the genre, what you could accomplish in that many episodes, and the legacy it left behind for television itself. It's crazy.
Exactly. Do you have a favorite scene or like a moment that like really was like, oh my god, this is the greatest show ever, like that really got you into it? For me personally, it was Terry's death. Like that's what changed the show for me. Like, okay, this show is willing to go that far. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, that was definitely one. For me, it was the hacksaw moment.
Yep.
I you'll never find someone who doesn't have that as a like a fond memory of that show. Um, I think that moment solidified it for me. I think that was the moment where I was like, okay, Jack's willing to take things to that level to get the job done. I'm in. I'm
Yeah, I
all
mean,
in.
he just murdered a guy in the middle of CTU. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
doesn't even work for him.
yeah,
Like, okay, I'm just gonna murder this guy,
yeah.
which is, yeah. Again, that's another scene. There's so many good ones. I mean, there's everybody has a different one. That's the other thing about the show that makes it amazing is there's so many. Like, you can ask 50 different people and you get 50 different answers.
Shows don't really do. I mean, they do that. We watch shows nowadays, and those shock moments are kind of the norm.
Hmm.
But you got to remember back then, on a Fox show, that type of content wasn't happening like that. Nobody would have ever done that. So, again, to speak to how brave the show was for trying something new, that those moments like the hacksaw moment are key.
Yeah, they definitely pushed the envelope, which was awesome. And if you
Yeah.
listen to the different podcasts and stuff and listen to the stories, I mean, they, like Kiefer, for example, thinking Terry was not going to, that was not going to go over well, and let just change the show's course from there on. So,
You never know, man. Like it's
yep.
all about risk. You
Hmm.
you can be in television for like 50 years and know what everybody likes, but then you'll hit a generation and it changes, and you
Yeah.
just have to take those risks, take those
Yep.
chances, right? And
Yep.
it worked. It
Yeah,
paid off.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the show is still, I mean, we're hoping for a reboot. Obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But,
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about Overheal Digital Mercenaries and the journey that you went through from realizing your passion and making it into reality.
Okay, that's kind of a long story, but I'll try to keep it concise. Basically, and I just found some nostalgic stuff yesterday. 10 years ago, Anthony Chambers, who's a cinematographer on 24 One More Day, he had a whole bunch of camera gear, like really great stuff. And as being an actor trying to make his way, I asked him, do you want to try to make a movie? And he's like, sure. You got a script? I was like, no, but I can make
Up
one.
here, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So at that time, like, Fast and Furious came out, and, I was deep into 24 at this time. And I had a niche, like what I thought I could do in this industry, like my typecast, right? And it was the action hero, the Jason Statham, the Bruce Willis. That was kind of my thing at the time.
Right.
And so I put this really crappy script together, and I said, okay, let's just get whoever we can and we'll go try to shoot something. He had like a Canon, I think it was like a 70D or 7D or whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
But he had all this cool gear, like cranes and lights and all that stuff. And I was like, man, we've never done this before, but we're going in with all this cool stuff. How bad could it be? It was terrible. We never got released, never saw the light of day. I don't even know where the actual video files are. I just know where the still images from behind the scenes are. And then it kind of snowballed from there. Anthony went to do pilots training, and he became a pilot and all that stuff. And I didn't see him for like 10 years. So then I kind of got to the point where it's okay. I'm getting older. I need an agent. So instead of being a hobby, how it started to become necessity. I needed a demo reel. I had nothing. So, long story short, basically I put together Team Bry Guy, which was before Overheal Digital. And that was just myself and my friend Steve Kassan with a smartphone. And we shot all our videos on a Google Pixel at the time. And it was just out of necessity to get demo reel material. And then leads us to today. It became an obsession, and I couldn't stop, and people were enjoying all our division stuff. And now we have Overheal, which is basically our mature, like we've matured into it. Now we have proper cameras, proper gear. We have a better vision of what we want to do. And it stopped being a hobby. And now it's kind of, something we like doing on the side while we're all doing our professional stuff, like my acting and whatever Chambers is up to nowadays. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah. And following you on Twitter, I know you're super passionate about it. And that's something I love, because I'm the same way. Like this podcast, I started it in July, with, after being on 20 years of 24, and I was like, I'm going to do my own. And it's a passion. I'm just doing it for fun. I'm not doing it for anything other than, getting people's words out there, doing interviews and stuff like that. But, I love the passion. Like I'm always enamored with people that's like, go do what you want to do. Everybody has a vision. Everybody has creative liberties of whatever they want to do. And I love that. I mean, following you on Twitter, it's awesome. So
See, and I love it because I want to be infectious. Like
yeah.
We live such short lives, and
Mhm.
people are just so passionate about certain things, but they're afraid, right? And I don't know, like, I don't want to say it's fear necessarily, but they're not willing to take those chances. And I'm not that kind of person. Like I could get rid of all of this to do what I love, no problem. Like I wouldn't look back because I believe so firmly in what I'm pursuing. Even if there's people out there who don't, it's something deep down inside of me that I can't stop. And I want to make sure that people, like, how Team Bry Guy started was the whole premise behind, kids coming out of film school or something like that, and they see all this expensive camera gear, and it's just very overwhelming for a lot of aspiring artists.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show them that, like, yeah, that's cool if you are already in the business,
yeah.
to have like a $1 million camera set up and all that kind of stuff. But while you're waiting, get a cell phone and start filming something that you think is neat, right?
Yeah, especially with cell phones now. I mean, the cell phones, have amazing cameras. I mean, everything looks movie quality. So
yeah, I mean, you still need proper lighting,
right?
But the fundamentals are there. If you want to learn basics of making some kind of moving image, everything's at your fingertips. Like literally, this is the phone we shot our last thing on before I got the Blackmagic camera, which that's my first proper camera, quote unquote, right? So yeah, it was just and with the podcast, like, just do it. What do you like? What do you got to lose?
Really? I know it's something too. I've been talking about like for 5-6 years, and I was just like, man, like, and then being on it with Ryan, and me and him kind of were talking and stuff, and I was like, you know what, like, let's do this, man, and see what happens. But,
you honestly got nothing to lose, man. If you don't try, that's the worst thing,
right? And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the fan films you've made are based on obviously various IPs, including Destiny, Army of the Dead, Division, Mass Effect. You made a short, like 3-minute Mass Effect video, and of course 24. Is there a process in choosing those specific IPs, or are you just like passionate about those IPs in general, or was there some kind of process for that?
Honestly, it wasn't intentional, man. Like I wanted to do original films and short films and all that stuff, and then when the Division came out and they announced, actually no, when the trailer first dropped at E3, I think like 2015, 2016, it hit something inside of me, man. Like that whole premise, the whole story, the whole world. Like, if everyone always asks, like, what's your ideal end game scenario? Like what's the apocalypse that you would most enjoy? It's always been viral outbreaks for me. And I know it's weird to say since we're going through a pandemic right now. If you asked me like a couple of years ago, this would have been okay, but it's too on the nose now. But when the Division came out, after all that hype leading up to the release, man, it like rocked my world as much as 24 did at the time. And just something about the Division struck a chord creatively with me, and then that's kind of how we started doing the Division short films, or like fan films, or whatever you want to call them. But again, we didn't have the camera stuff, and I didn't have any friends around anymore who had anything worthwhile, because Chambers was off doing his living his life, right. So then that's how the smartphone thing started, and our first video ever for the Division was on the smartphone, and it was just me vlogging, like literally just doing what we're doing right now. And I just kind of made a story out of it, and people enjoyed it. And the Division Twitter account had tweeted our like third video or something like that, and it just kind of escalated from there. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we got to make more. And then I think our last Division video was just before the pandemic, or no, in the heart of the lockdown for us up here. That was our last Division video. But there's sorry, to get back to your question, there's no sort of like guidelines that I follow to like do these things. It's just like, if it's a game I love and it's got a story that I think is promising outside of the main lore, and I can kind of go on my own path, then I'll do it. Yeah,
and Division is great. I played a lot of Division 1 and 2. I need to probably get back into it. I haven't played the new expansions and everything, but yeah, no, I love, like you said, the whole setting, the New York setting, and then obviously Washington in the second one. It was great. I have the novels too. Read those.
You know what you should do? You should get Ross and Thurber on this show, man. Like
Oh, really?
I bet the three of us could talk for hours just on the Division alone.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I'm game. I'm game. We'll get that going.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously too, to go back to the other ones like Mass Effect. Huge fan of Mass Effect. I watched that
Yeah.
actually yesterday, prepping for our interview and stuff. I didn't know you had a Mass Effect video, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm happy that you, with the IPs, you take care into them. There's a lot of, I know we talked on Twitter months
Mhm.
ago about it, about certain directors, that we won't talk about, that does not
Yeah.
take care to their
Yeah.
IPs, and they're professional professional filmmakers
Yeah.
that get released and everything. So it's like, but yeah, no, I appreciate the thought. I mean, going into them.
Here's my reasoning behind that is that, while it is a fan film, I do want to, do my own thing. I do want to tell my own story in that world. I'm not a big fan of just taking, people have done this in the past. I won't name names, but certain YouTubers will take an idea. Let's just pick a random one, like Halo.
Right.
And it's like, okay, great. So you're gonna do Master Chief. He's gonna go shoot some people, and like, I've seen that. I've played it.
Right.
What about if you were to take, another Spartan, or someone who was in the Spartan program and maybe didn't, pass it or something? Like, what are they doing? Right.
Right.
So that's always my thing with, with the Division, Destiny, and now 24 is like, let's pick characters that, you know, nobody knows exists, or maybe they existed briefly and we didn't get enough storytelling from them, and go from there. Right. So,
Yeah.
or make up your own. That's usually what I do, is just make up characters.
Yeah,
that
set
don't
in that
actually-
universe. The universes are so huge, you can do what you want. So
Yeah, exactly.
so obviously last week you released 24 One More Day
Yeah.
on YouTube, which is your largest project to date. Which, first of all, huge congrats. I mean, I know it's a big deal to you. I know I've been following you, and I know you were super excited. Huge congrats. I know you were nervous to get it out in the world.
Yeah, still nervous.
It was great. Anybody that has not watched it, it's friggin' awesome. So thank you for that.
Thank you. That means a lot. Seriously.
Yeah, it is fantastic. So take me through the process of conception to release for it. When did you decide that you wanted to tackle the 24 universe on a grander scale?
Oh man. I want to say, I've said it before on Twitter, but I want to say it's about 6 years ago when the idea kind of popped into my head, where I wanted to know more about Josh. Right? Shows up one season, goes through all this crazy stuff, and then is gone.
Never mentioned again.
Like,
yeah, I was going to say, I don't think.
Right? We have this huge family drama for like 2 seasons, basically. Well, like 1.5, we'll say.
Yeah.
And then Josh shows up, and you have this character who's prime for, he's no longer, spoiler alert if anyone's never watched 24. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I was going to say.
You have this character who's like just sort of abandoned, and then like literally has no family other than Jack and I guess his mother at that point. What happened? So that's sort of, that idea was kind of in my head for a few years. And I think from the start, it's always been about Josh. I wanted to do something with Josh and like what he was doing after the fact. And then I tried to do 2 other short films. One was called Exigent, and one was called Sierra, but I was afraid of Fox. I didn't want to do 24 because at that time Fox was shutting down fan films for other IPs, and I was afraid that like I would invest all this time and money, and then like Fox would be like, "Listen, what are you doing? Like, cut it out, right?" And I just can't afford lawsuits, so I had skipped over it. I took a rough skeleton of that Josh idea with CTU and all that, and then I made it Canadian, so it was CSIS instead of CTU, and then they were just doing very Canadian types, 24 things. They sucked. Both those videos were terrible, just kind of poorly planned. I rushed them, and I was just trying, feeling my way through everything, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, you know what, I'm done sitting on this idea. And then I think it was April. I put my head down. I focused on the scripts, fleshed it out, made it what I was, what I would do if 24 was to return. But with Josh and what he's been doing, in his late 30s. I think roughly, if you do the math on when the seasons take place, I think he's about in his mid to late 30s right now.
Yeah, because he was probably early teens, and
I think he was like 16, 17 or something.
Or mid-teens. Yeah. So yeah, and with the time jumps, they've had so many different time jumps. Yeah.
So then with that in my mind, I was like, okay, well, if they didn't go with the whole him being Josh's son thing, which was like, we talked about this
Yeah.
before, ridiculous.
That's been a rumor for years, like a fan theory and everything else. So like,
so playing in the playground that he was Graham's son, Graham Bauer was bald. I was like, well, hell, I'm bald.
That works.
I think the actor who played Josh had blue eyes. I have blue eyes, or give or take roughly the same shade. I was like, man, I could do this. So I wrote it for me. I was like, I'm already an actor. I already need material anyway. There's a pandemic. I got nothing better to do. I'm just going to write this story that I've wanted to write forever and get it over with. Right. But our biggest problem, going back to like, our YouTube indie stuff, is like, we can't get locations, and try shooting 24 where you got to run around with guns and vests that say CTU on it in a public place.
Right.
So I said, okay, I'm going to have to fund this. I have no choice. Otherwise, it's not getting done. I can't afford to do this on my own. So I had thrown it up as a Kickstarter I didn't tell anybody anything about what we were doing. I just said, oh, we need locations to film our YouTube videos, and didn't say anything about 24. Nobody in the cast, nobody, not even Anthony, who was our cinematographer and like my partner in this, he had no idea what it was until like a week before we actually started prepping for shooting.
Wow.
So
wow.
Anyway, so we got funded, and then now here we are. We finally got it done.
Yeah, you did it. I think it was a $5,000 budget, basically.
Yeah, 5,000, and I think like over 2/3 of that went towards just locations, and the rest was to the talent, not myself, but
right.
everything else.
How long did it take you guys to film it, like from beginning to end?
We had 4 days. And each day was a different location. So like one day was all the CTU stuff. One day was all like Branson's warehouse, Branson being the villain for anyone who hasn't watched it. And yeah, each day was a different day or a different location. So that's the only way we could do it logistically. And it was still a pain.
Yeah.
The whole point of doing this pilot, other than scratching a creative itch that I had, was I wasn't interested in the traditional, like, beg them to meet with me and like, here's my idea. Who are you? Oh, you're nobody. Like, they're not going to waste their time. Right. So the beauty of what we do and how we do it is like, I don't care. If I have something creative I want to explore, I'm doing it. And there's no one's going to tell me not to, unless legally, we get in trouble.
They tell you to shut it down. Yeah.
But that was part of it, is like, I wanted to do this idea to scratch a creative itch. And at the same time, I honestly believe, and I might be crazy to most people, I honestly believe we have a valid idea on how to reintroduce this show while keeping the Bauer universe, like keeping it in the family, basically, right? Because I know that's everyone's big problem, is they don't want to watch 24 without Jack.
Right. That was the whole thing when 24 Legacy came out. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, it's not that it was a terrible idea, Legacy. It's just that we are so accustomed to Kiefer. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, I've met Kiefer once, and I'm sure he's just wants to retire that character, but at the same time, probably wants to come back. But it's like, you have to find that right balance, right? Yeah. I don't think he would want to do a whole season again, but I think he's okay with showing up, right, and maybe like playing the cameo or something like that.
Yeah, so. and I agree. I think. And plus, I mean, now it's 12 episodes are pretty much the norm in television. So I feel like,
I don't know if 24 is going to fly nowadays.
Yeah, man. I know. I just thought 24 episodes is a lot. And I know Kiefer has talked about that in the past, about like just how much work that was. It was just insane compared to what other shows have done. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that it needs 24. And that was actually going to be my next question. What are your hopes for the future of 24 as a franchise moving forward? Not like, for me personally, I do think it's coming back in some form or another. I just don't know when, where, streaming, how it's going to. But what are your hopes for the future of 24?
Going kind of, mixing with what we were just talking about. You're right. It's just a matter of how, right? It's not a matter of when. This show, like I said, it's had such a valuable impact on the industry itself. And like, fans like us, for it not to come back would be kind of silly. And it's never been more relevant,
right?
Especially nowadays, right? I mean, with our story, obviously we've taken some liberties with like what's happening nowadays. And there's your story right there. Like, the world's writing the rest of 24 for us.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who's going to be clever enough to turn it into something watchable, right?
And 24 was always ahead of its time. Like, I mean, you'd see something in 24, and then like 6 months later, it was happening. They were always a
Yeah,
way to
yeah,
stay right ahead of the curve. And even with technology, a lot of the stuff they
yeah.
use, you go back to season one and look, and Jack's on a flip phone, obviously, doing GPS satellites. I'm like, probably not possible. But now it's,
Yeah. Now all our cars have GPS
right,
maps and stuff just like that, and it did look crazy. Same with Star Trek. When Star
yeah,
Trek was kind of pioneering that vision of what our future could look like. This is 24 kind of did it for the surveillance side of the world, right? So
right,
yeah, no, it's cool. I do have an idea on how to take some modern relevant tech and stuff to turn this series into something, but I don't want to spoil it.
yeah.
But
Hey, don't.
if I was to have a meeting right now with John Cassar or any of the people involved, there's two ways I could make this show come back, and one being the way we did it for our 24 one more day, and another that I don't want to spoil. Maybe
Yeah.
one day I'll talk about it.
Hey, you never know. It might be.
Because I know someone will take it. I know it's really good and it's really relevant to today. And I know someone will take it. So
That's cool.
I don't want to
Hey,
give
don't
it up.
spill the beans. Don't spill the
No,
beans,
no,
man.
no, no.
Yeah, keep it close to the chest until it's ready to go
Mhm.
out to the world. So yesterday we were chatting a little bit about you had a meeting with Kiefer, and that led to an embarrassing audition for Designated Survivor. That's what you said to me. So, what's the story
Yeah.
behind that?
So my agent called me. This is quite a few years ago. He was doing a music video for Shirley Jean.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the songs I believe is dedicated to his mother. He was doing a music video with Robert Nepper where they're in a prison and they needed prisoners. So my agent calls me. She's like, "Want to work with Kiefer?" I was like, "Of course." Like,
Duh.
what kind of question is that? Yeah,
Right.
she already knows. Like my agent is well versed in all the things that I love, and she knows that Kiefer is like top priority on my list. And I said, "Of course, I'll work with Kiefer. Let's go."
Mhm.
And it's nothing. I'm just sitting in the background, playing a prisoner. So I show up. We do the prep our wardrobe, all that kind of stuff, and I go get a coffee at the craft truck. I come back, all the prisoners are gone. I'm like, "Where'd everyone go?" Like, "Oh, they're on set. Come with us." I get there. Kiefer's talking to the camera guy. All the prisoners are in the cells. I'm the last one. They're like, "There's no more cells left for you." It's like, "So what do I do?" It's like, "Oh, just stand off to the side." Didn't get in the video because I was too busy getting coffee. So anyway, the day goes by. I'm waiting to see if they still need me. They never need me, right? So I'm like, okay, we're getting close to wrap. I can't show up to a set that has Kiefer there and not, at least say hi and get a picture, right? But I also hate being those guys who like you're trying to work. I don't
Right.
want to bother the talent or the person in charge, basically. Uh, so I didn't like rush him when he was on his break or anything like that. And then I got to rap, and I was like, okay, I have to say something. I got to be that guy. Like I'll never see him again.
Right.
Like in my head, I'm like, this is it. This
They're
is the
one
one and
shot.
only
Yeah.
time I'm ever going to meet Kiefer Sutherland. I have to say something. Screw it. What do I got to lose? Nobody knows who I am. I'm just going to go. So I go up and I'm very polite, and he's very charming, and obviously I could tell he was just not having it because everybody and their mother was doing it before me. So I get a picture with him, cherish it forever. It's amazing, and I leave. And then I think like months later, I get a call for Designated Survivor, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get another chance to be on set with Kiefer, and I'm starstruck, right? So I'm like, okay, go all the way to Toronto, get in my audition. I got everything memorized, and like I'm ready to nail this like 2 lines with Aaron. It's supposed to be with Aaron,
Mhm.
his chief of staff, I
Yeah.
believe. I get in the audition, and the casting director, and I think the producer or something was there, and I completely tank it, and I like stumbling over my words. I'm blah, blah, and I forgot how to act. So that you could tell the guy was very nice. He's like, okay, let's try it again. Just take a breath. Yeah. And then I tank it again. And I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry, guys, but thanks for seeing me. Right. So I leave, call my agent, and I'm all like, depressed on the phone. Like, I can't believe I embarrassed myself. I'm sorry. And she's like, don't worry about it. I'll just tell him you're like starstruck and you couldn't handle it or something like that. So she calls him, and it turns out I had a hold, which basically means it's between myself and another person.
Mhm.
Right. So I was like, okay, there's still hope. I didn't completely, bomb. Ended up not getting it. And it was just such a silly story that like
Hey, I mean, the
I
fact that you
fell
got it. I
apart,
mean,
man.
yeah, call. I mean, Designated Survivor was also a great show. So
It was,
but
yeah.
yeah,
I didn't get on it.
that's awesome.
I auditioned for it a few times. It would have been cool to like, be on it, but whatever, it's fine.
I mean, it happens. I mean,
It made for a great story, and that's really
exactly. So in closing, Bryan, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today.
Same.
I want to say in closing, again, your passion is just, I mean, I love the passion you put behind your project, and watch 24 One More Day. It's on YouTube. I will again post a link to the end of this video as well as in the comments, so you guys can check it out. And also on Spotify, I'll have a link as well on there, and through however you get your podcasts. But thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I honestly appreciate it, because aspiring artists and indie creatives like myself, we need people like you to help us shine. So
yeah, and I mean, and again, anytime you want to come on, talk anything, games, anything,
I'm always down.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm good. I'm always looking for someone to come on and just talk the crap with me. So
yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to plug before we go? Any projects you're working on right now, or?
I don't think I mean, we are working on stuff, but not really. I'd say just watch our existing stuff and support indie creators.
Yeah, definitely support indie creators. And again, too, liking, subscribing, commenting does mean a lot to everybody. Myself included. You know, Bryan would appreciate it as well. But yeah, it always helps. It's good to hear good and bad. I mean, I take constructive criticism and I learn from it. You know, so as long as it's constructive, it's not you suck. You know, I don't listen to that. No.
This whole interview was a sham.
Yeah, this is a sham. This is all BS. But no, again, man, thank you, Bryan. Appreciate it, and
Thank you.
Good luck in all your future endeavors.
Thank you. You as well. I'll talk to you soon.